Welcome. Little Joe wants your soul! Ah! Ah! All right, what's up, guys? We just got back from Annabelle Creation, a horror film.
One, right?
What's that?
It's one. First one.
The score?
What? No, the first
Oh,
one.
one. I don't get this joke. This joke is failing. What? I've never seen a Joe joke fail. Anyways, Annabelle Creation is the prequel to the first Annabelle, which was Joe.
It's a prequel to The Conjuring, which turned into Annabelle, and this is the first one, is what I meant.
Oh, that's what you were saying. I got you. All right, but how was the first one? Because you, I think,
my
are the
God.
only one here that has
I
seen the first one.
honestly kind of forgot about it. It was that boring. It's
Yeah.
very forgetful, and I kind of did a little review over it. I remember it now. I would give that movie a 4.
Wow, yeah.
It was a 4.
I didn't bother because I heard that it was just really bad. And I think this particular one, though, was actually pretty solid.
It was really good.
I was surprised. It's engaging, well done horror flick, partially probably because it was directed by David F. Sandberg, who did Lights Out, which was another solid one that we thought had some problems, but was creepy, genuinely creepy, and written by Gary Doberman. So it had great dialogue.
Very good.
And basically, this is the story about. I mean, both of these films are supposed to be about the doll, but it's not really about the doll at all. So we'll put Little Joe away for now because it's more about a demonic entity trying to enter our world and harvest souls through a conduit. And the conduit just so happens to be this very freaky looking doll, which people are like, why does it look so fucked up? I was hoping they'd explain that in this movie. No, he just makes the doll look fucked up. I was hoping that he created the doll after his personal tragedy, right? And that's kind
that
of
would've
why
been
he
even
made the
worse,
doll.
yeah.
Kind of like the whole Chucky thing. Yeah.
So basically, we have a family. I forget what their names was, like Mullers.
Mullers.
And they have this wonderful daughter. They're love her, and they go to church. Unfortunately, an accident happens, and the little daughter is run over. And basically, you don't really know what happens to the family. And we cut very quickly to two main characters, two little girls, which, when a horror film focuses on the children, it makes me very nervous because
It's extra creepy.
yeah. Yes, if it's done right. But you know how child actors can fuck up a whole film.
Yeah.
And I was, what did you think about the performances of these two girls
They
in
did
this
a great
film?
job. Like, there was not a time where I thought that they were struggling to be creepy, and they were. They were very creepy.
So it's an orphanage that is now relocating to the Muller's house, where they're inviting him in the house. But it might be that the Mullers have ulterior motives or a sinister past or something, and an unresolved thing because you have eventually the little girls Linda and Janice finding the doll in the house, and shit hits the fan. Once they find this doll, you have it's sort of your horror, your classic House of Horrors. Things happen in this house, even though there's tons of girls well, not tons, there's something like, 6, 7 girls here?
6.
And, but there's moments in the film where you feel completely isolated. The room of the dead daughter is locked. You're not supposed to go in there. This
You gotta
house,
tell me twice.
Yeah.
I am not going in.
This house is massive, and what do? They fucking go in there, and shit starts to go down. So, I really enjoyed this one, and this is continuing the trend within the recent horror films where a first one bombs, and they say, you know what, fuck it, let's do a prequel and fix the issues in the first one, and yet somehow the prequel is so far superior to the original. This happened with Ouija, your favorite device, Joe.
Yeah.
Ouija, the prequel to that was better, and it's the
surprisingly.
same thing happens here. Why do you think this one worked?
There was a lot of things going for it. So you have anytime you have children involved, it becomes creepier. Anytime there's an orphanage, and there's a Catholic priest, and
Percentage,
there's nuns,
percentage.
like creepy dolls, little children humming and singing in a giant empty house. Like there was all these things going for it. that
The
made it really
song
creepy.
was my Little Sunshine, and this is the song that was sung to me when I was a little baby.
Was
Apparently,
it?
my mom had told me, yeah, I used to sing this song to you,
Creepy
and
now,
so
right?
it added some creep factor for me that this song appears in the film multiple times. But yeah, I just it's a fantastic film, but it's not without its flaws, Joe. Right? What did you find weak about Annabelle Creation?
To me, sometimes I felt like there was too many jump scares.
They did get excessive at the beginning. I'm always
Yeah.
annoyed by jump scares, but in fact, for me, Joey, they didn't really bother me much here. They didn't feel too cheap because they actually backed up the real scares later on in the film. They
But
didn't.
later on, but like in the beginning for me, it was too much and it was very predictable.
Oh,
later
yeah.
on, it started getting better.
Yes. So I'd have to agree with you. This is one of those films that is filled with tropes. You've kind of seen this story many times. It's kind of hard at this point to tell this
Yeah.
House of Horror story with dolls and shit. We've seen it, right? But I mean, the director here, David Sandberg, does a great job with playing with the lighting. Of course, he cut his teeth on Lights Out, right? The lights flicker on and off, and shit is changing and moving. They also do me and Joe's favorite thing, like the
Oh yeah.
that shit,
That was
creepy
the
little-
worst part for me. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, it gets surprisingly gruesome, this film. I was very surprised. I don't want to spoil too much. We'll talk about it in spoilers, but some very gruesome scenes. Definitely not a film that you can bring your little kids to or anything like that. I mean, it's horror, but
No.
this one is particularly gruesome. But strong acting throughout. Great written dialogue, and I felt that it was really good. I mean, I think the only thing that threw it off for me is the suspension of disbelief. Did you feel that way? Here's the thing. Shit goes down in the little girl's room, and what happens? The Linda character, Janice, who suffers from polio, which, by the way, heightens the tension in the film
Yes,
because you're
that's
like,
what I was gonna say.
she's not gonna be getting out of the way of any ghosts or poltergeists. So I loved that aspect of it, and her
tension was like-
vulnerability. And the ghost sort of plays around with her, and initially it seemed like, oh, well, maybe we're gonna have a friendly angle here, or what's happening. Well, we realize that's not necessarily the case. But what I'm saying is she keeps going back in the fucking room.
They're surprisingly, for a bunch of little girls are running around this haunted house. They didn't scream all that often. They're not calling for help. I mean, they shriek every now and then.
Yeah.
And then the devil is in the bottom bunk, and then you just go to sleep. It's like, no, I'm running out of this house.
So exactly. There were too many of those, and that's where it started to break my suspension of disbelief. So I want to tell you right now, fantastic film, very strong horror. I do think that you should see this one in theaters, but I will tell you it does sort of grate on you. It gets a little bit too much of those tropes where it's like, you almost died, but let's go back in the fucking house. Or
Just go to sleep like nothing
go
happened.
to sleep, or go back into the room where that freaky ass shit happened, where you almost fucking had a heart attack. Or when you almost die and you have to be driven to a hospital, and then when you're coming back and they're wheeling you back in the house, motherfucker, I'd be like, nobody's fucking bringing me in this fucking house. I'm telling you, motherfuckers, there's something in there that's gonna kill me, and it's the last thing I'm gonna do is be in this house.
She told them she fell. It's
Yeah.
like, no. You were thrown by the devil down the stairs.
So some of the reactions, or sort of the post reactions of what happens when the movie really hits you with a good evil scene, is not realistic enough. They should have thrown in a few more lines of how they're stuck there, or maybe it's your mind playing tricks on you, or give them some sort of other angle to excuse or dismiss what's happening in a more realistic way, because I would have pieced the fuck out a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
So does anybody else want to cover anything else?
Not really. I got some more stuff to say, but that's in the spoilers.
Yeah. What did you feel about the performances or the story angles for the the owners of the house, the Mullers, the father and the mother, post when they open the orphanage and invite these girls in?
I would assume, what's his name? The father, Mullen, to act the way he did, because like he's trying to be nice and open with them. It wasn't really his idea, but it was kind of, you see he's trying to help them, but it's awkward as fuck.
Yeah, you could tell something's up. He like never smiles. He's always walking around the house. The little girls are doing their little girl things.
Yeah.
He's cute, and he walks by and
He
he's
just
like,
doesn't know what to say.
and walk by. So little moments of levity, I think he
Yeah.
brought to the film. What about his wife?
She wasn't in a whole lot of it. The scenes that she was in, she was really good. I mean, she was supposed to be creepy, in the forbidden wing of the house. And
Adds another creepy element to the film is his wife, where the girls are sort of, she's always hidden. She never comes out. There may be something on her face, or she's fucked up in some way. And the bell was a great psychological element. So just like his previous film, Lights Out, he's got another element here, only audio this time, with the ringing of the bell. And she seems to be bed-stricken. She can't walk or something. And when she needs help, she'll ring this bell. And there are several moments that the movie plays with audio where the bell gets closer and closer, and the girls are under the cover, and the bell is right there. It's just amazingly well done. Aside from a few missteps with a little bit of going back to the fucking house and not having some real good excuses there of the sense of danger that's happening and realistic reactions to that danger, great film. So let's go ahead and make this a short one and give some final verdicts. We'll go to Joe. What are you thinking?
After everything, I'm going to give this a high 6. I really enjoyed this. Better than the first one. High 6 for me.
High 6. I expected a little higher from you. What was it? Some of the things we talked about that brought it down a little bit for you? Because this is in the Conjuring franchise, right? Did you like? Okay, so what films are in this one? I think it's Conjuring, Conjuring 2, Annabelle, and this one.
Yes, and then
So-
The Nun. It's gonna
There's another one coming, The Nun. You're
Little
looking
sneak
forward to
peek.
that one. Yeah, she was in Conjuring 2. I liked her a lot, but anyway, go ahead. So what brought it down for you?
Honestly, the ending.
Oh, that's right.
Like, I prefer some of the stuff that happened. I would have liked that story to be a little bit longer.
I didn't understand the ending, Joe, because I didn't see the first
Well,
film.
actually,
was
not,
that
not,
a tie?
not that ending.
Okay.
When they were talking about Annabelle and everything else that was going on with the family.
Right.
I wanted that to be
So it
more
ties
elaborate.
directly in
It-
to
yeah.
the next film, yes?
It does.
Is that
The
what
first
that
film,
is?
the first film.
Did they just reuse the footage, or did they
Yes.
have to reshoot the footage? Okay.
Everything was pretty
I
much
was
the same.
actually hoping that they just say, "Fuck the first film. Let's just reboot this shit."
I
and
honestly thought that's what they were going to do. I was like,
Yeah.
well, I was waiting for the connection, waiting and waiting. You have to wait till the very end, then.
you get the connection. Okay. What about you?
I think it's a 7, like a solid 7. I've seen so many bad horror
Oh,
movies recently.
yeah.
If you compare it to anything that's been made in the last 5 years, it's not the top of the class, but it's a solid movie. If I'm going to see it in the theater, I think that, and I would tell people to go see this in the theater, that this is a good 7.
I'm right with you. I think it's solid enough to see in theaters. It does have a few flaws and a few problems, but man, the Conjuring series are cranking out some really good ones, except for the first Annabelle. That was garbage. You said it was like a 3 or 4 or something like that. Yeah, don't watch that one, and you watch this one instead and start from here. So I'm actually looking forward to The Nun. Do you think they're going to try to do some sort of... let's go to the spoilers.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to go with a 7 as well as my final verdict. So if you want to stick around, wait for the spoilers. If not, then I'll see you guys on the next Angry Joe Show. Okay, here's the spoiler section. What I tried to say is, do you think they're gonna try to pull a Marvel Cinematic Universe
Yes, they
with
do.
the
They
doll
will,
and
they
the
will.
demons and the fucking nuns, and because they did reference the nun
Yeah.
character.
That was
How
kinda
did they
fucked
do
up,
that,
though.
Joe?
That was kind of fucked up. The nun moves in, Sister Charlotte, and he's helping her fix something in the room. He grabs a picture. He's like, "Oh, who are these people?" He's like, "Oh, we become close. This is the sister, blah,
This
blah,
is
blah.
this.
It's like, oh, who's this in the back corner? It kind of looks like a hologram. You have to kind of shine in the light. I was like, what the fuck? Who the fuck is that?
Yeah.
What is wrong with her face?
It was really cool.
That
though.
was the nun. I thought it was cool. They also did that with
picture.
with
The
with
little
other
girl's
things.
picture.
With
Yeah.
the
It was really cool. I mean, if you're talking about expanding
Flashing
the universe,
eyes.
like a horror universe, that'd be really cool. Like
I liked
the demon devil characters, kind of interesting. We don't know anything about it, and I'm into those type of movies where you learn the backstories of what this thing is.
And they have the Warrens is how they tie it all together. Those two characters, where they collect paranormal stuff and investigate and try to perform exorcisms and things like that, is how they're tying the universe together. I don't think they'll do like Marvel, where there's a demon and Annabelle shows up and the
Fight!
nun shows up and a third entity shows up and they all fight, right?
They all
No,
fight the
that's-
Warrens.
The Warrens are like,
Like the Eye of the Tiger.
the power of Christ compels you, and stuff like that. Probably not gonna be that, but I like the fact that it's sort of a soft tie-in, like they used to do. Well, this with some of the RoboCop, Terminator, Alien stuff. No, that's even softer. That's just a mention of a name. That's an Easter egg. This is an actual tie-in. So as far as spoilers go, they showed the demon several times. I think every single time but once, the demon was shown off really well. Because he would walk back into the shadows as the little girl, the eyes would glow, and then he'd go, and he'd slowly
That was
get
creepy.
larger and larger, and then he comes at you and you're fucked.
Yeah, as long as I don't mind seeing the boogeyman or the bad guy in the movie, as long as it's real brief. Because if you give me a long enough time to look at him, then
Yeah.
it kind of takes you out of it.
That was a mistake. I think one of the was the Darth Maul guy. What movie is that?
Insidious.
Insidious made that mistake. And I will say the one time that I did think it did make the mistake is when the Janice is in her wheelchair, and she, by the way, the girls are playing outside, and Janice is in a wheelchair, and she's like, okay, fine. I know I almost died several
Yeah.
times, but I'm gonna relax. And she's, oh, and the
they have to
fucking
be
thing.
like 50 feet
and
away.
there's less than that, Joe. They would have seen her flying into the fucking.
Well, you have a demon nurse that's like,
Oh,
or
that's
it's a nun.
right.
A nun
it's
was
the
pushing her.
fucking nun
Like a
was
demonic
pushing her.
nun was pushing
I don't
her.
know if it was the nun, but that
No.
that
Oh,
kind
no,
of
it wasn't
came
her.
out
It
of
had,
nowhere.
it had a different outfit.
And I liked
But
how
it
the
was-
way
it
they
was a
did
nun's outfit, right?
the camera with her, because it was as if she was attached to the chair, the way they did the shaky cam when she turned around to see who was. Ooh, that shit was freaky.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was well, but once she hit in there was one scene where, oh no, it wasn't that scene. It was later on. They play with the scarecrow to set up this little scene.
Oh, yeah.
The older girls are all pushing around the scarecrow and say, what? My word, how dare you? And later on, the scarecrow gets some fucking revenge because the demon gets inside the scarecrow's body. But later on, he gets out of the body and then like comes down like a spider or something. And
He's on
when
the
they
roof.
show his face and I can see his fangs, he kind of looked goofy. And I was like, oh, that was the only bad review.
First time that it happened is actually the only time the demon speaks in the entire movie.
Mm.
Where it's like, until then, the demon's speaking through the little girl, and then so it's like, it's singing and humming, and it's super creepy. And then the demon, as the little girl, says, I need your help. And then Janice says, oh, with what? It's like, and turns around and says, I need your soul.
This was a huge moment in the film. I didn't want to talk about it in the actual thing for spoilers purposes,
in
but
the
this
trailer.
really was amazing. What it was?
Yeah.
Fuck. Well, I should have talked about it in the review. But I'm saying like this was like fuck yes. Because this set the tone for the rest of the film, where you see bodies ripped in half, where you see gruesome blood and shit like that. Well, it wasn't too in your face, but
She was ripped in half and then crucified and stuck to the wall with crucifixes.
yeah.
Like it was,
Oh, yeah.
And our eyes were our eyeball gouged out, and they linger on that shot as she's talking to you, the mother character. But so I thought it was well done. And to spoil it a bit further, Annabelle is obviously their daughter. They got ran over, and they prayed to
big.
dark gods or something.
Pray to
They-
anyone that would listen.
anyone that would listen, and they brought her back, or yet they thought they brought her back, but it's actually a demon that has attached
And
itself
that's
to
actually the
doll.
story that I kind of wanted.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to focus more on the family, let them kind of build up a little chemistry, and then had the daughter killed off. And then
Oh, you didn't
some
want
incidents-
any orphanage to come by?
Not as
Okay.
much.
Well, we're
But I-
setting up for a prequel to the prequel because now we can go back one step further and just go back.
But yeah,
to,
like I wanted the parents all grieving and then them praying and something. Then little subtle things are happening. They find notes, then they start praying.
note thing was really
then,
creepy. I
yeah,
like that a lot.
And then the demon comes into play.
Another
That would've
great
been better for
aspect.
me.
Another great aspect of the film is the note thing, though it is a little tropey, but it's unique to this film. As the little girl, the daughter would leave notes for her dad, "Come find me." And once the daughter dies and comes back, and you start getting notes again, then shit is like,
Found you.
oh hell no.
Yeah.
Time to burn the house down. And move
Yeah. So
Right?
great, solid film. You want to talk about anything else in the film that stood out to you?
At the very end, so you've got the Catholic priest that's
The-
holding up the
Yeah,
doll that says, "Oh no, it was just a conduit. Don't worry, there's no more devil inside this thing." Which one of you little girls want this? It's like, how creepy do you have to be?
You
know?
idiot. So, the shit goes down. The doll is out of control, or the demon controlling the doll is out of control. They manage to, how do they stop the doll? Well, they throw it in a locked room with holy water and scripture, lamentations of the women, scripture all over the wall. And that's how they sort of stop it. And the police come, and when they open the door, they expect to, you expect to find the demon and the doll, but nope, it's just the doll. And a hole in the wall has been burst out. The little girl has escaped. By the way, Annabelle possesses Janice. We forgot to mention that. We didn't want to spoil that for you. But that's a really well done thing because Janice has polio and eventually she's in a wheelchair. But when she stands up, you know, okay, Janice no longer Janice.
When she stands up and becomes 10 feet tall, or no, that was the other daughter. So Annabelle originally, because
Annabelle.
that scene was really kind of
Into
cool.
Janice, yeah. And like I said, gruesome. The father character notices that's his Annabelle, or the demon has come back, and he tries to hold up a cross and fucking like rips his fingers apart and like snaps him in pieces, and it's great. But the hole in the wall allows the tie-in to the original film, Joe. So how did they tie it in? She escapes.
She escapes, and then she goes into an orphanage. And Annabelle, possessed version, gets adopted by these two parents. And
Oh yeah, and they bring her the.
they
bring
ragdoll,
Raggedy Ann.
Raggedy Ann.
And that's a
the
little
actual-
Easter egg
yeah, that's the
because I
actual-
heard that this is based on a real doll, and the real doll is a Raggedy Ann. And maybe they just didn't have enough money for the rights at the beginning, and now they finally got it, so they did a little teaser there. They give her a Raggedy Ann, and she's like, But eventually she still gets Annabelle. How does that happen?
Okay, so the parents adopt this girl, take care of her for a while. Then she runs off to go. They said to go run off and join a cult.
Yeah.
They come back 12. Fuck.
No, you can keep going.
Okay, so then they come back 12 years later. Annabelle and her crazy boyfriend sneak into the house, kill the parents
It's
off.
Charles Manson, by the way.
Oh,
That's what he
yeah,
looks
that
like,
guy
Charles
looked like
Manson.
Charles Manson. That's her boyfriend. Annabelle, apparently, the demon has a boyfriend? Really?
Why
Annabelle
not?
just-
Why not?
Okay.
They're in this
and
cult.
then they're in the cult. See, it's kind of a shitty tie-in. Me and Joe would have preferred they just
I
wipe the
didn't
slate
even like
clean.
how they connected the stories at all because
Yeah.
how the demon is trapped in this room that had kept it contained for 12 years, and just because it's in a little girl's body can kick through the scripture now.
Yeah, I bullshit. And, okay, then why couldn't he just whatever?
Exactly.
So here's the thing, and then they finally do a stinger. There is an after credits thing if you want to stay for that. Basically, it's boring as fuck, and Captain America was going in my mind like, patience. Sometimes it doesn't pay off, and that's kind of what happens here. You're staring at the Annabelle doll, and the doll is all smiling, and you're like, okay. And this whole series, the first film, as some people watch, and this film, they're waiting for the doll to do stuff. And it's not really the doll. This isn't Chucky style where the doll gets up and runs away.
Yeah.
However, finally, the doll makes a small movement that you actually see. Because in the film, the whole time, they always look away. And then when they look back, the doll has been turned.
Dude, the doll didn't move the entire time that
No.
we saw in the whole thing?
Nope.
Because we see it, there's a lot of times where the character is moving, and they did a lot of really cool shots where you see the character, part, but there's a mirror in front.
Yeah.
And as the camera is turning, you start to see that the doll has moved or other things. There's actually a lot of scenes where if you stare at the background, you see things moving in the background.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I
noticed
loved. I
that.
should have included that in the review portion. Loved how you're scanning the background. That's a sign of a good movie because
Yeah,
you're
like
into it. You're
every time I
engaged.
see a wide angle lens, I'm like, I'm
Something's
looking,
gonna
I'm
happen.
looking.
I need to watch
And
it.
I love putting the sheet over a demon and have the demon just get up. Oh, you gonna put the sheet on me? I'm still coming at you. You just made it worse.
I know.
You made it 10
It's like, how
times
can
worse.
we
I'm
make
coming
this
at you.
creepier?
And finally, we maybe get to see. I was like, all right, fuck yeah, we're seeing the doll move. But really, it's not the doll. When it reveals, it's fucking nothing. And that made it even more horrifying for me, actually.
Whoa.
I was like, hell yeah, that's fucking cool. But I guess the stinger and why they thought it was such a big fucking deal is because the whole film, this one and the previous film, you never really see the doll move on its own like that. So maybe they're implying that if this does well, that they'll do Annabelle 3, and this time Annabelle will be animated and she'll move around Chucky style, and she go
would be
out with
so hard
Chucky,
to do.
and then they have some
Yeah.
sort of demonic orgy, and then Chucky's wife shows up, and she's like, "Bitch, what the hell?" And then and then they fight like the cat fight of dog cat fight. All right, I was playing. All right, so yeah, that's Annabelle, and wildly successful. I hope this film makes money because it's good. I was really mad when I heard the first film, 6 million, 7 million budget, made something like 89 million US, 172 million worldwide. It was a shit film. Didn't deserve it. This
Did
one
not.
deserves it. Go out and see it. And yeah, all right, if you enjoy horror. All right, we'll see you guys on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys.